So John, the Polish Prince, thanks very much for joining us today. Obviously you're running for Mayor of London.
Correct.
There's two main candidates at the moment, according to the opinion polls, Zach Goldsmith and Sadiq Khan. So I suppose my main question, why are you getting involved in this fight for City Hall?
There's a very simple reason for this, because 60% of this city are people of overseas origin or connected to people of overseas origin. And we don't have a voice. We're treated as second-class citizens. I was born here in London. I went to public school. I went to the London School of Economics. I'm a Prince. I've done very well in business. People say I'm a multimillionaire. And I still feel like an outsider. So our job is just to work, but we have no say in what happens in this city. Without us, in this city, the city grinds to a halt. The town grinds to a halt. And we do have one candidate of foreign extraction, and that's Sadiq Khan, but he's part of the establishment. He's been with the Labour Party all his life. And neither Zach Goldsmith nor Sadiq Khan have done anything in defense of the community that I belong to, which is the Polish community, and there are 500,000 of us in this city, or the 300,000 French, 300,000 Italians, all the East Europeans, all the other minorities, Hindus and so on, in this city over the last few years, while we have been under ferocious attack from UKIP and other racists. And my job is to stick up for these people.
But I want to find out more about what you're going to offer. And housing is a big issue. Yourself, you're a property developer. I wondered what your main policy there is.
I've been a property developer for 30 years. I've built hundreds of homes. I've also built this house, which you're filming me in, where I happen to live, which is the recreation of an 18th century Polish palace. It is considered to be the most famous private house in London, so I also build quality. And what I want to say is that over a 4-year period, with the energy and the experience that I will bring to being Mayor of London, it's possible to build 1 million homes for Londoners, which will solve the housing crisis completely. I have the political will to do it. Zach and Sadiq Khan have proved over the last 20 years that they have zero political will to do it. All they do is talk about it, because as MPs, they've spent, when dealing with housing and planning matters, they've spent most of their time opposing development or slowing it down because they wanted popularity with their voters. I've spent 30 years of my life building things, getting planning permissions, dealing with objectors. I know how to do it. It can be done. This country used to run half the world, and it can't house its own people in its own capital city. It's a disgrace. It's a scandal.
But weren't the same obstacles that they've come up against in their parties and Boris Johnson himself? We talk about the environmental concerns, where people live, greenfield sites. Won't you come across those same obstacles yourself if you're in City Hall?
Those obstacles are very real and they're there, yes. But what I will say very simply is to quote a report produced by London First before Christmas, where they say there's room on brownfield sites in London to build 1.25 million homes. And I think that's an underestimate. The land is there. I know even in the borough that I live, there are loads of sites where stuff could be built, which have been lying neglected for 30 years, even in Ealing Town Centre. That is the case all over London, particularly in South London and East London. I have the political will to do it, and more to the point, the Mayor of London, at the moment Boris Johnson, has considerable planning powers which he does not use. Even his own staff say Boris just wants to be popular, so he's not using the powers he's got because he doesn't want to upset the NIMBYs. In other words, the people who are constantly objecting to any change or any development. Their powers are there. Any development which involves more than 30 homes, the mayor can intervene and call it in and decide it himself. As Mayor of London, I would use those powers. Zach and Mr. Khan won't use them. They've been on the stump towards this election for months now, and they're not going to use them. And even if they do want to use them, they'll only use them a little bit, and they won't achieve any significant targets.
And finally, wrapping up, we've talked about fights.
Yes.
Just then, obviously, you made headlines when you challenged Nigel Farage to a duel over his comments over your patriots.
Yes.
The Polish people.
Yes.
Where is that now, and what more have you still got that feud going on with Nigel Farage?
Well, he didn't express an interest in having a duel with me, although I made it really clear that what I was really after was a duel of words in a TV studio. That offer, Nigel, by the way, is still open. But he upset, over the last few years, he's upset probably 80% of Londoners. So the 50-60% who are of foreign origin, but also, and this is critical, native-born English people were very upset too. And evidence for that is, for example, a reader's survey that the Daily Telegraph did when I challenged Mr. Farage to a duel. They asked their readers, who's going to win the duel, Farage or the Polish prince? 83% supported me. He is the most hated man in this country by Londoners. So my first action on my first day as mayor would be to take legal steps to get him banned from entering London, from entering Greater London. And I think it's a policy that many people in this town would support. He wants to kick the foreigners out, right? So we don't want him.